Welcome! Today we are diving into a 2,500-year-old parable with a lesson on freedom that feels like it was written yesterday, not thousands of years ago, especially for our world of endless notifications and constant cravings. We all face it, right? The unhealthy snack, that endless social media scroll, the urge to buy something we don't need. And the question is always the same. Do we give in or do we fight it? But what if I told you this ancient story says that both of those paths are traps? That real freedom, well, it's somewhere else completely.
So our story starts out pretty simple. You've got a forest, a hunter, a herd of deer, and a clearing where the hunter has scattered some bait. Seems straightforward enough. But yeah, the hunter's intentions are, let's just say, not great.
And the psychology behind this is just fascinating. See, the bait isn't poison, it's pleasure. The hunter's goal isn't to kill the deer outright, but to get them so hooked, so kind of drunk on the experience, that they just stop paying attention and become totally vulnerable. Okay, so faced with this tempting but super dangerous bait, the deer split up. Each group comes up with its own strategy for survival. Let's take a look at the first 3 attempts and see why, despite how clever they seemed, they all ended up failing. Hard.
All right, so group number 1, they see the bait and they're like, awesome, free food. No hesitation. They just dive right in, gorging themselves without a single thought about the danger. They're completely captivated.
And well, the result was exactly what the hunter wanted. They get totally intoxicated by the bait, they're not paying attention anymore, and bam, they're easy prey, completely under the hunter's control. So strategy 1, a complete and total failure. Now, the second group, they saw what happened to their friends and, they freaked out. They thought, okay, that bait is terrifying. We are staying as far away from it as possible. So they run deep into the forest, totally committed to this life of extreme self-denial. And here's the crucial point. Pure avoidance works. Until it doesn't. When things got tough, when the dry season hit and their own willpower just started to crumble, that rigid strategy completely fell apart. They were starving, exhausted, and they just couldn't hold out any longer. And you can probably guess what happened next, right? Same story. They ended up racing back to the bait, got intoxicated, careless, and were easily captured. It's such a brilliant illustration of how a strategy built on fear is just as fragile as one built on reckless indulgence. Okay, so then you have the third group. And these guys, they seem a lot smarter. They looked at the first 2 groups and said, okay, that didn't work. So they came up with this mindful approach. Their plan? Eat the bait, but do it cautiously. Don't get carried away. They even set up a little hiding place nearby so they could retreat. But here's the thing. The hunter, he was clever too. He saw what they were up to. And because they were still playing on his turf, he just changed the rules of the game. He adapted, put up fences around the bait, and yeah, it didn't take him long to find their so-called safe spot. So even with all their intelligence and all their caution, yep, this group got trapped too. Their huge mistake was trying to outsmart the hunter in his own territory, playing by his rules. Which leaves you wondering, right? If diving in fails, and running away fails, and even being mindful about it fails, what in the world is left? And that brings us to the 4th and final group of deer. They saw all the other failures and realized they needed a completely different game plan. Their focus wasn't on how to deal with the bait, but on something way, way more fundamental. This is the masterstroke. Their number 1 priority was to establish a base, a safe refuge, somewhere the hunter had absolutely no influence, a place he couldn't even reach. And only from that position of total safety would they venture out, always able to retreat to a place the hunter could never, ever find. And as you've probably guessed, this isn't really a story about deer. This is where the whole thing turns into this incredible psychological map for our own lives. The hunter, the bait, the deer, they're all just powerful symbols for what's going on inside our own heads. All right, so let's crack the code here. What does all this stuff actually represent? Because this is the real heart of the lesson. So the bait, called Nivāpa in the original Pali, that represents worldly pleasures. Sights, sounds, smells, tastes, physical sensations. Basically, think of literally everything the world dangles in front of us to get our attention. Our phones, shopping, entertainment, you name it. And the hunter, or Nivāpiko. That's a symbol for Māra. Now, in this tradition, Māra isn't some devil with a pitchfork. It's more like the personification of all the forces that keep us trapped. It's our own patterns of craving and aversion, all the stuff that leads to suffering. And the deer, the Mikajata? Well, you guessed it, that's us. It's anyone who's trying to get through life, with all its temptations and dangers, with a little bit of wisdom and purpose. We are all the deer in this story. Okay, so this table really brings it all home. You've got the first group, pure indulgence. The second, extreme self-denial. The third group represents that kind of intellectual approach that's still stuck in the hunter's territory. But that fourth group, that's true wisdom. It's all about building that inner safe place before you even think about engaging with the world's temptations. So what is this unreachable place? I mean, obviously, it's not some physical spot you can find on a map. The text is super clear about this. It's a state of mind. It's an inner sanctuary that we have to build for ourselves, a place that all those forces of craving and distraction, they just can't touch it. The text actually identifies this safe place with the path of deep meditation, known as jhana, and it's a progressive training of the mind. You start by developing calm and focus. Then you move into this state of incredible joy. From there, you cultivate this deep, balanced equanimity. And finally, you arrive at this place of absolutely unshakable peace. That is the inner fortress. And this is the ultimate payoff. When you build this inner refuge, you don't just outsmart the tempter. You become literally invisible to him. It's like you erase your tracks. You're operating from a whole new level of freedom that Māra can't even see, let alone try to control. So, as we wrap this up, the question this ancient story leaves us with is, of course, a deeply personal one. What's the bait that the world is scattering in your path? And maybe more importantly, are you working on building that safe, unreachable place inside? Or are you still out there, just trying to outrun the hunter in his own backyard?